Well, Ben is back, and as usual, he brought a menagerie of guns and optics aside in at my range. And we finished off by shooting at a Firebird 50 Bio. Detonating target. These are just so cool. Here it is in slow motion. You can always tell when you have a direct hit. And as you may remember from my last video, I had a limping hog in the woods that I didn't get a shot at. This is on a property where the landowner called and said that she had seen a sounder of hogs. This is the only one I saw on property and I didn't get a shot at it. And I think her sounder spent most of the evening next door on the neighbor's property, so no shot there. And carpe sus, we are back on the landowner's property. We're right outside of her gate, looking down at hogs in the distance during daylight hours. Ben has ranged the distance to the hogs at about 620 yards. I figure about 700 yards to get there after we meander a bit. Now this is the gear I'm going to be using for the evening.
Well, with hogs coming in and out of the woods in the distance, we've got cattle in the foreground. We're a couple hundred yards into a 700-yard stalk. I don't know what they're doing. They're having a heck of a time.
Well, after watching the deer rut for several years, didn't take too long to figure out that there's a couple sows in heat.
I think we've got some friskies going on.
We waited and watched till it got a little bit darker, and eventually the hogs just went into the woods, so we moved on to other properties. This is the gear that Ben's going to be using for the night. And the dog in the foreground is Bo. He often greets me when I'm on this property. I'm out scanning the back pastures looking for hogs. Despite checking several properties, we didn't see anything for several hours until returning back, and on the property next door to where the landowner reported pigs, we've got a big boar out in the field. Well, I should backtrack on that. Big is relative. I haven't seen a really big pig in a long time. This is big for what I've seen lately. As wind wasn't a problem, we made a direct approach on this hog. Now the moon is a problem. In fact, it's a full moon, as you can see as I pan up to the sky.
Moon in the sky. Then I've got cattle way off to the left.
We actually have cattle off to the left and off to the right, but nothing directly behind the hog, hence the direct approach.
Shoot ready. 3, 2, 1.
The differences in distances stem from the fact that Ben was using laser rangefinder. I'm using GPS. I figured GPS is plus or minus a few yards.
Brass Catcher by Tactical Brass Recovery.
The boar came in at 170 pounds. Really not that big of a boar, but the biggest I've seen lately.
Alright, this is the boar that Ben and I just shot, and I think this is my boar from last night because the boar from last night had something wrong with one of its front legs. Ben, if you will. The right front leg is frozen in a folded position. It cannot fully extend. So it looks like the radius and ulna were broken at some point.
They were both broken, misaligned when they healed, and were shortened. We did do some bullet recovery on the boar. So if you'll take a look at Carpe Analysis to Trauma Diaries number 66, I'll put a link at the end of the video. While working with this hog, notice that the neighbor's property where hogs have been spotted previously had a couple hogs on it, so we drove around to her property, and here we're at the top of the hill again, and where we saw hogs earlier in the evening, there are hogs again down in the far pasture. And despite our due diligence, we managed to stampede the cattle. I tripped over a fence wire at one point, but we finally got set up on the hogs. From this position, we have no shots to the left. The property line is about 30 yards behind the hogs and going away from us off to the right.
Shoot ready. 3, 2, 1.
This didn't go nearly as well as expected. Ben's hog is down. I'm going to finish it off here. My opening hog ran off to the left, and the big boar both apparently got off property, but we came away with a 90-pound sow, pregnant with 5 on board. These were the last of our night. We finished up about 3 a.m. and then had this surprise on the way home. There it is. 350,000 miles on the 2007 Toyota Tundra pickup truck. Carpe sus, my friends.